Good evening. Welcome to a special edition of the International Grapevine. This is your host, Wallingford Lee. Tonight on the International Grapevine, we're going to talk about the coronavirus. This is the second show we were doing about the coronavirus, so this one is going to be Coronavirus Part 2. We want to talk a little bit about it because we want to find out what's going on, why it's affecting everywhere in the world, especially here in the United States of America. Matter of fact, we have over 5 million people with coronavirus, and we have lost over 177,000 people. And I'm quite sure if we don't find a solution quick to it, the numbers are going to go up. It's amazing. It attacked New York in such a fast way. Luckily for us, we had a great governor that put things in place, and it really killed a lot of people in New York for a while. While New York has come under control because they've set all kind of rules and regulations, now it's affecting Florida and California in a tremendous way. I mean, awful way, just knocking out people left and right. We're pleased today to have as a special guest, Dr. Mario St. Laurent, who has been kind enough to be on our program to discuss a little bit about the coronavirus and the danger of it and what have you. This gentleman came with an outstanding background where he has practiced in the medical field for a long time, since I would say since 1989. He has practiced in Corona, in Jackson Heights. Matter of fact, I think he has a business right now in Queens, to be honest with you. So it gives us a great satisfaction to have him on our program to bring out to light the pros and cons of this virus. Welcome to our program, Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. It's a pleasure to be here to put some enlightenment in what's puzzling a lot of people. Okay, what get a lot of people confused, from the top politician to the lowest in our society, and it's a real tragedy. But we're gonna get the hang of it. We will get the hang of it.
I hope so, because it has done a lot of damage in Europe, South America, Central America, all over the globe. And I think some people claim that it came from China. Some people claim that it came from Europe. And right now, my understanding is that at least China seemed to have a little bit of control on it. But anyway, more importantly, what exactly is the coronavirus and what usually caused that?
Well, coronavirus was identified back in 1965 by the scientists. Back then, it had caused mild flu-like symptoms, and it really was not a big deal until back in 2002, where they had a serious coronavirus, which was the SARS, that was in South China, which was called severe acute respiratory syndrome. Okay, that killed back then. It propagated into 28 countries, and it killed like 776 people. But it was contained. And then in 2013 we had the MERS virus, which is the Middle East respiratory syndrome. Okay, that killed 886 people. Coronavirus has been, like I said, since 1965, but this virus that came in early November in Wuhan is a mutation of the SARS virus. Okay, it is a severe acute respiratory virus, but this virus is so slick and so hard to figure out. I think there was a mutation that was done. I think this was a mistake, that this virus really escaped from the lab by error. I don't think it was something that was done deliberately. That's my personal opinion. So
I'm still amazed at the fact that it's around since 65. But when it came out in 1965, did it hurt people as much as it has right now? It didn't spread that much like it has spread now?
no, because back then it was just like it was manifesting just like the flu,
Okay.
just like we have, the flu. But it seems like after decade, the coronavirus is getting more complicated and is causing more severe problem. We have to keep in mind that of all the coronavirus we only have 7 that has been identified in the human species
Okay.
that causes a problem. Of course, the first wave of SARS they had identified in bats and also in some meat in cows, and cattle. But this one, they tried to correlate it with the same first SARS virus they had, but there are still doubts because people believe that this thing really escaped from the lab.
When you say escape from the lab, what you mean that not intentionally, you're just like an accident or something like that?
Yes, I believe this was an accident, and then it went out of control.
How has it spread so fast? What's caused the spread in this virus?
The virus is contrary to the other virus. Okay, it spread from contact droplets from people to people, right, through the air, and then it stays in the air for a while. From what we have seen, it can stay on the surface for over 3 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
If you remember that boat that they had quarantined everybody from that boat, they find the virus that was deposited on materials in the boat after 3 weeks. So this is something that's very new to science, and it caught the scientists by surprise. And they're still trying to figure out, how this virus is affecting people so hard and so in such a complex way.
So it's fair to say that you can get it by contact then, from contact from people to people or stuff like that, or a sneeze, a cough, or something like that.
Yes, I mean, it doesn't go through your skin. It has to be droplets from sneezing, from coughing, from it can sustain in the air for maybe 8 to 12 hours. So, and then it depends also the viral load you get. It depends on where you are. If you catch it in the street, okay, the viral load might be less than if you catch it in a cab or in an elevator, in a place that it's enclosed. So the viral
it's more
load
dangerous enclosed, I would imagine.
Right. The viral load you get, it depends on how it's going to manifest in your system. All right. So the stronger the load, okay, the more severe it's going to manifest. The less concentrated it is, if you're outdoor, the less likely it's going to manifest on you. Mm-hmm.
What are some of the symptoms or the early symptoms of this coronavirus? Because it's such a mixed bag. You heard for a while that people are in ventilators and they're this and they're that. Some people get into the hospital, they don't come out. So, for our viewers and audience, what are some of the beginning symptoms and some of the manifested symptoms out there?
Yeah, well, it varies. It varies, and it's a multitude of symptoms. We're going to go through the most common, okay? Most common, people start with a fever, okay? With body ache. A lot of people start with cough, a dry cough, looking like bronchitis. And some people present with just diarrhea and headaches and And it depends on your ability or your physical how would I say that? If you
Condition?
have if you have comorbidity or not. If you're in good health, it's easier for you to fight. Your immune system is strong and stable. It's easier for you to fight it. But when you have comorbidities, meaning that if you have diabetes or high blood pressure, or if you have any chronic disease, kidney disease, sickle cell, or if you're on chemotherapy, then your immune system is weakened. Then it can really take you down easily. So it's best, like they said, if this thing is while this thing is around, it's best to do everything possible to boost up your immune system, so that when this thing get on you, okay, it doesn't take you down as fast.
So your immune system has to be solid, in other words, to fight it a little bit. Because one of the things that we understand is that it usually attack a lot of people who are diabetic or elderly people above 50s and 60s. Sometimes we hear that it mostly affect Latinos and people of color. So we got a kind of mixed feeling. Is that correct? Does it attack only minorities? I mean, it attacks everyone, but most minorities?
No, what happened is after this virus hit us back in March, April, a lot of people are started looking at why such a large difference between people with pigmentation or people without pigmentation. And that's how we find out a lot about the importance of vitamin D in preventing this disease, because people with fair skin absorb ultraviolet light easily. And with that, it activates their vitamin D. The active vitamin D easily in their system. And the role of vitamin D in your kidney, in your pancreas, and in your lungs is very important, because vitamin D, what it does is that there's that angiotensin you have in your kidney that regulates your blood pressure. If you don't have receptors to block this angiotensin, your blood pressure is going to go sky high.
When you say receptors, just more or less, we'll talk about receptors.
Okay, receptors are, it's like
defense?
An absorber. No, it's what's absorbed the vitamin to make it work in your system. It receives, so that's what you call receptor. It receives the vitamins easily to activate, your immune system. And also we also have that in pancreas. So this is why these diseases are more prominent in Black than in Caucasian, because of the way we absorb or we utilize vitamin D in our system. So, in March and April, and then all these studies started coming out. And then what they used to recommend for number of vitamin D in Black as and white people is totally different, because people with fair skin absorb ultraviolet light and they activate it easily, while dark skinned people do not absorb ultraviolet light as well to activate the vitamin D. So in winter we hibernate, we put a lot of clothes on, we don't get sunlight, okay, and we don't take vitamin D supplement. So we find out that in order for, if you are dark skinned, you got to take at least 10,000 units a day, or 60,000 units a week, okay? And we used to say 4,000 is good for you. And then we find out 4,000 is not for Black people, okay? It's more or less for white people, because you don't absorb it as well. This is a very, very important data that came out in March after people started dying.
I guess after people started dying and they did all their research and stuff like that, and they went deep, that's how come they came up with that philosophy about it.
Yeah, they had to look for why so many, what the proportion, why it's so disproportionate, the number of Hispanic and Black that are dying as compared to white patients. So
Very interesting indeed. Very interesting. As we continue talking about the danger of coronavirus, we'll be right back on International Grapevine talking about the danger of this. And we are kind enough to have on board a doctor that has the background and the experience that can guide us in the right direction. We'll be right back on the Grapevine. And we're back here in International Grapevine talking about the dangers of the coronavirus and why it attacks a great portion of our lungs and cells and what have you. And we are fortunate to have with us Dr. Mario St. Laurent, who has been kind enough to be on the Grapevine to share his ideas and what he thinks about this dangerous thing. Doctor, constantly I hear about the COVID-19. What is the difference between the coronavirus and the COVID-19? Because sometimes I get confused about that.
Coronavirus is a big family. Okay, coronavirus is a big family, and COVID-19 is coronavirus with a serotype 19. So it's a way to abbreviate coronavirus 19. So COVID-19. You
Okay.
understand that? They abbreviate it coronavirus, COVID, and the
Okay.
serotype is 19. So
Well, yeah, I was on the, I was very confused when they talk about COVID-19. I was saying, but what is this? Isn't it the same corona virus? So I was between 3 and 2. I had some doubts about it. And
yeah.
then, as you get deeper into it, you keep saying, well, this one died and the other one died. What killed him? Was the coronavirus or the COVID-19? So I didn't know which one was the
Yeah.
proper one to
Yeah,
go about.
it's the way they abbreviate coronavirus. Okay, COVID, coronavirus. And
Does
the
warm weather
serotype.
stop the outbreak of the virus?
Well, from the theory that we hear that the heat really does something to the virus, but the logic behind it is that if you look, for example, what's going on in, if you take let's take these two countries, for instance, Dominican
Okay.
Republic and Haiti. You see the amount of people that died of COVID in Haiti is very minimal as compared to the amount of people that are dying in the Dominican Republic. While we were expecting thousands of people to die in Haiti because of the way people are living, one on top of the other, the population explosion and the density is so huge that we were expecting to, to have a disaster in Haiti, and it's not happening. It's two reasons. Dominican Republic has suffered from it because where there is a lot of tourism, okay, the virus travel easily. Okay, that's a major factor. That's what makes the difference between Dominican Republic and Haiti. Because it's not the heat itself, it's the vitamin D that they produce in the sun. Exposure to the sun activate their vitamin D because these people, they're always outdoor. This is where the major that's the major factor that. But if you look at Brazil, for instance, where they have a lot of people dying,
And that's a serious problem there.
Yes, that is because of because tourism. Everything has to do with tourism. You know, people
They're
transmitting
going
the
con.
virus.
Hmm.
They're transmitting the virus from one person to another. And if you don't take it serious, not where you're keeping your distance, wearing your mask, washing your hands, using your sensitizer, you may end up having this kind of tragedy. Just like initially over here, we didn't take it serious. Okay, this is one of the factors that produce so many deaths. We had our guards down, and we didn't understand the virus. Okay, we were promoting certain things that we shouldn't have. Um, Initially, we stay away from steroid. Okay, which is the key treatment in this virus. We stay away from aspirin because there was some studies from France that showed that aspirin was wrong, which was totally false. So people were confused, and because of the confusion, we stay away from what we were supposed to do. As a result, all these people died.
I'm a little surprised when you say steroids. I didn't think that that would have been helpful.
Oh yes, oh yes, because uh, these people who presented with dry cough and bronchitis,
Hmm.
the only way you're really going to decrease the swelling that's inside the bronchi, the tubes that goes, from your trachea to the bronchi to the lungs, they are inflamed. And the only way possible to really disinflame that, you got to take steroid. Okay, you got to, from the get-go. I was saying a lot of people were questioning me about why I'm using steroid, and I ended up saving a lot of people uh, because from the get-go you have the signs of bronchitis, the swelling of your tubes, they're swelled up, and you are coughing your head up, and you are coughing blood. If you don't use that steroid, then you're gonna get micro clots in your lungs, and then this is what happened to those people who developed pulmonary emboli that goes to your heart. I mean, this is a key. This was a key treatment if you take it early with the antibiotic that saved a lot of people that presented at first with symptom of bronchitis. So this is a very very important in the initial treatment of people who presented with bronchitis.
I would imagine when you talk about the steroid, it's going to be in the form of injection, though, right? The steroids.
Sorry, no, in terms of inhalation,
Yes.
okay, just like what you use for chronic asthma, okay, and people who also have bronchitis or sorry, excuse me.
Hmm.
You should This is the key treatment in preserving and in helping your patient go through the process. And many of these people did very well, and they didn't have to go to the hospital.
Well, one of the things that I know for a fact, it goes without saying that we here in America were surprised by it. I think a lot of people kept saying that it will go away like the flu, it will go away in a couple of days. I don't think we as a nation or the leaders of our nation was prepared or did not listen to the doctors, them in some case, or to people who had more knowledge. And this took us by surprise. By the time we woke up, we had a terrible situation. The same thing goes with masks. At the beginning, our president never saw him use masks. Now people are using masks. How important is the mask, doctor?
Mask is play a key role um, in containing the virus, in passing the virus from one to another. Okay, you don't only protect yourself from inhaling the virus, you also protect other people because you contain the virus in your mask. It's a very, very, very effective. If you look at some country in Asia who were using masks from the get-go, okay, you could see how they contain the virus much better than people who were not wearing masks. So wearing masks is very, very important. Lee, let me go through one example with you. Why mainly we were confused. We underestimate the virus, how it manifests. Okay, it manifests in so many ways. First of all, it can manifest as if you were in a fire. Okay, smoke inhalation, carbon monoxide poisoning, because the virus replaced oxygen, just like carbon monoxide replaced oxygen in a fire. So you may be hypoxic, but you're not having respiratory distress, and you can only find out when you do your pulse oximeter to find out that your oxygen is low. So it pushes away the oxygen from the red cell, and then it takes the place of the oxygen.
Wow.
Okay, this is one thing. So a lot of people may be confused because they don't have oxygen going through the brain, because they can't relate, they can't understand, they can't comprehend what's going on because they are hypoxic, even though they don't have they're not in respiratory distress. Okay. The other factor is that it coagulates your blood. Okay. People did not know that this virus can put clots all over your body without knowing it. So a lot of people ending up having stroke. A lot of people end up having kidney failure. Okay, a lot of people end up having a heart attack because the clots this virus is doing, it's mind-boggling how it works. Okay, some people just have diarrhea. Some people just present as if they were having malaria. At night they start with that shivering with 104, 105 fever. They're shaking like hell, and in the morning they're okay. So so many varieties of signs and symptoms that the virus gives, and people did not really understand what was going on with this virus. So there are a lot of different treatment that are going on, but I'm sure they're all fine. But you have to see the patient in the whole content to see the kind of approach you're going to take to get that person well.
It is my understanding that as you talk about blood clot, that's one of the main things that Italy did a lot of studies and found out that the blood clot was one of the main reasons getting to a lot of folks, and they have been able to cut down a good portion of the death in Italy. That's my understanding in reading the newspaper. I don't know how accurate that could be.
Yes, it was, because what happened is when they do that X-ray or they do the CAT scan for the lungs, what they were describing as interstitial pneumonia is really microclots that were in the lungs. So a lot of damage was done because a lot of these people were put on a respirator. While if they had put them on CPAP or free flow oxygen with nasal cannula, they would do much better. We thought initially that we were doing a good stuff, putting these people on a respirator, but what really we were doing is pushing clots into the heart.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah. So it was, retrospectively, you find out this is what was happening, but we thought that we were doing the right thing. But the best thing that they find out that is to put these people on free flow oxygen and heparinize them. Okay, give them heparin to dissolve the clots. okay, and put them in antibiotic and deal with them. And you see that a lot of people, that's why a lot of places, they stop using the respirator. They stop using the respirator because they say free flow oxygen is much better than putting the person in a machine.
Well, I
So,
understand that a lot of places are not using the respirators anymore. Thank goodness for that, because a lot of people went on the respirator and they never came back. What kind of risk are the people that health service, people that work in the hospitals, and the doctors that are there working so hard trying to save life? What are the risk factors for them?
well, I mean, we have lost a few colleagues. I mean, we all human. It depends on your status, your health status, your immune system, and the measure also you take to protect yourself. Because the first thing you have to do is your PPE, your personal protection equipment. Make sure you observe those rules, because if you don't protect yourself, you you are susceptible to catching the virus, and you don't know which road it's going to take. Some people recover very fast. Some people just go the other way. So, I
Well, it
mean, we
backs up
all
what you're saying, because the virus stays in the surface for a while. So
yeah.
if it stays in the surface for a while, the people in health service, I mean, they're working hard trying to save life. They are really exposed.
Oh yes, most definitely. And this is why a lot of places right now are pushing for negative air pressure in a room, uh, so that they take the virus away. If there's a lot of people walking in and out in a place, uh, they have that kind of vacuum that's sucking the air, um, to make it more suitable for people to breathe. Because whether you have a mask or not, from time to time you have to bring it down to get some air so that you don't pass out from inhaling carbon dioxide. So it's very important.
What are the general symptoms someone at home that doesn't have the experience should look for if they have a family member not feeling well? How would they know the symptoms of the virus, the coronavirus?
Well, if you're having a fever um, for 2 days
Hmm.
and you start having body ache, because a lot of people, that's how it starts. The body ache starts and you're getting a low-grade fever. Uh, you start to worry when you start having cough. You start worrying when you see somebody is started getting disoriented, because some people don't have the cough; they just have the virus that is attached to their red cell and displacing oxygen. So, because of lack of oxygen, you are disoriented. You are, you're not yourself. You're not making sense when you talk. That's something you should be look out for. Some people just have, diarrhea and vomiting. Um, uh, Kids, fortunately, do very well, but some of them may do present with weird skin disorders, like as if they had varicella, as if they had measles, and as if they had hives, which we as pediatricians have never seen before. And this is all associated with COVID. It's mind-boggling. We have kids with appendicitis that's positive for COVID. So this is, I mean, the limit. The limit is infinite.
Well, we have approximately 3 minutes. We hear our leader talk constantly about being tested. How important is this to get tested? And when you get tested, how long it takes before you get some type of serious results? Is it 2 days, 3 days, or it's a longer period of time? Or does it depend on the town or city that you live in?
Well, testing is very important. If you look at those countries where they were doing testing and tracing, and they're wearing masks. They control the virus much more effectively than other places. So unfortunately, we didn't have enough tests going around at the beginning, and this put us behind the ball. So now testing is more accessible, and you can get your test result within 24 to 48 hours, many places. And we're getting better. It's more accessible, and we're getting better at it.
That's good to know, because for a while it used to take a while before you get a result. If you
yeah.
had a coronavirus and you overcome it, can you get it down the road again? Is it possible?
Well, this is what's strange about this virus. We've seen people who has antibodies after 3 to 4 months, it dissipated. It's not like you have antibodies against measles, mumps, rubella, or chickenpox that stays there, for the rest of your life. But this one, for some reason, it just goes. It peaks in 3 weeks, and then it just decreased. By 3 or 4 months, you have no more antibodies.
Oh,
So some experts are saying the little that stays inside of you could be sufficient to fight if there's a resurgence. But there's no guarantee it's going to work. This is a speculation.
Well, on that note, Doctor, I want to take the opportunity on behalf of the family of the International Grapevine to thank you so much for being our special guest, and to educating our mind about this dangerous virus. We don't have words to thank you for that, Doctor.
Yes,
and we hope that you'll come back on the program one day.
Yeah, and before we leave, Lee, there's a message I'd like to pass on. Remember, a lot of us used to take cod liver oil.
Yes.
When we were kids.
Yes.
And cod liver oil, right now we are modern. We don't say cod liver oil. We said omega-3. This is cod liver oil.
Yes, okay? It is. Yes,
and
it is.
It has so much potential. First of all, to prevent you from catching a cold. If you have triglyceride, which is the fat that's in your gut next to cholesterol, it dissolves your triglyceride. It promotes and activates your vitamin D and A to protect you. So it has so much potential, so much. It's so important in your body, okay, to take that cod liver oil or omega-3. Okay, it's very important. Your vitamin D. If you are dark skinned, okay, you should double your vitamin D. Okay, this is very important. Zinc is very important for your immune system. They should take that, okay, to promote. Of course, your vitamin C is always there. Sure. You have to take that in order to boost up your immune system, okay, to fight this virus. And of course, wash your hands. If you're a child, you have at least washing hands for 20 seconds is must. Okay, they can sing happy birthday while they're washing their hand. That's exactly 20 seconds, a minimum.
And it's important.
Okay, it's very important. 20 seconds to wash your hand while you're singing happy birthday. Any kids can do that. Teach them how to do it. Okay, the importance is wearing a mask is a must. The distance is a must. Sanitizer, if you're using it, don't forget it's 70% alcohol. You have to be aware of that so you don't burn yourself or get close to fire, because you can set yourself on fire. Okay, so this is the information I have, Lee. Okay, I hope everybody enjoy and take advantage of it.
Again, thank you so much for being our guest and for helping us out, Doctor. We really appreciate it. And again, we hope to have you back soon on International Grapevine. That's for sure.
Good. Nice meeting you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, this is Wallingford Lee saying good night for our program, and we hope to see you next week at the same place at the same time. Good night.